On the scene, just pulled this weed eater engine apart. Found out that the rod caps are on backwards. That's why we spun a rod, guys. What a bunch of idiots! But for the rest of the money that's in the motor, and the big intake manifold, and the turbo, and the external wastegate, and oh, check out my clutch. My clutch is broken too. Here we go. Let's see if we can move. It might be jammed in there right now, but this thing went for a ride, and it faded out my pressure plate. And we at least have a spec flywheel to go along with our broken ass clutch. So if you're gonna put your motors together, guys, make sure you get your freaking rod caps on the right way. And now we know why my slightly built motor spun a rod bearing at 14 measly psi at half throttle. We got a bunch of goodies in here though.
Hashtag Jews.
Hashtag Jews. She's got to figure it out. Well, that's why we had to pull this thing. Right. We got this SR20 motor that spun a rod bearing, and the motor's fresh. It's built. It's got SRP pistons in it. They kept stock rods for budget. I get it. And I mean, even the bottoms of the pistons, you can see them. They are just still so fresh. You know this motor has no miles on it, but we got a Rodknock at 14 pounds of boost at like half throttle, and thank goodness we found out that the rod caps are on backwards. So right inside here, the rod base will say a number, and the rod cap will say a number, and this one's obviously backwards, but found this interesting because this bearing is so young, but look at these just common senseful scars and scratches. Now none of this, check it again, none of this catches my fingernail, but it does look drastic as hell. And we're just going to turn this rod cap around, because that number 2 is actually supposed to be on the other side, and there's not supposed to be anything over here. So that being said, I mean, it's just incredible. I've never seen a bearing look this bad with almost no miles on it, but that goes to prove that you need to put your rod caps on the proper way, or at least look into it and find out, make sure it is going on the right way. Terrible bearing. We'll film the rest of this so you can see what we did, but just taking apart the bottom and putting some new bearings in it. You know, I just had a kid, so I'm trying to do everything on a budget, but there's no reason to go crazy if you don't have to, so just gonna throw some bearings in here, put it back together properly, and see what happens. Quick, that we did not spin the bearing either, because we still have a really good tab on this current bearing, so that's how we know that everything is not like, oh my god. The tab is still there, bearing is fresh, it just looks like crap, so we'll finish this stuff up and get this thing put back together. We're done for the night. I just took them apart to take a look at them and see which ones were bad and which ones weren't. But basically, I believe it was 1, 3, and 4 were on backwards. It's very important that you guys look at these videos on YouTube, which is where this one will be eventually, to see what may have happened. Because a lot of people that I've talked to about this problem, you know, a lot of people understand that rod caps get put on backwards. Apparently, it's a notorious thing that happens with SR20s. So if you do have a Rodknock, you know, be happy that these videos are available, because I bet 90% of the time it's not even bearing problems unless the motor is just really old and it's getting a lot of power. But we're going to make another video to show you basically from beginning to end, just like there's another video on YouTube that does it pretty well. It's what I use to reference a lot of the information. That being said, it's a really nice setup. Just make sure you pay attention. Most of the time, like I said, if you didn't run it low on oil and you do not know what's wrong with this scenario, chances are there's an explanation for you in there as to why it broke. That being said, I'm going to get off here. We're going to make another video for you guys to see. It's like a beginning to end how-to scenario. That also being said, make sure if you like the channel, you watch some of my videos like this one, or even subscribe over here, because there will be a lot more material and you will see a lot of this car tearing it up on the streets, get in wherever we go with it. But make sure you like, subscribe, follow the Instagram, Turbo Josh. Thanks. See you guys later.